Kathy Hunter knows what it's like to go through cardiac health crisis in Central Alberta. Her dad had 2 heart attacks and was airlifted to Calgary for catheterization angioplasty treatments.
So my dad had those things done, and you know, because of the time period it took to air ambulance him to Calgary, you know, some heart muscle dies and he went into some heart failure, and then those complications eventually took his life.
Kathy's mom has had a pacemaker implanted, and Kathy herself has had her own heart problems. She had to go on a long wait list to get a catheterization procedure in Edmonton. And that's not all. Her youngest son, Todd, was born in 1988 in Red Deer with chronic congenital heart disease. Todd had 4 open heart surgeries, with a long series of catheterization treatments done in Edmonton. Kathy estimates that family trips back and forth to Edmonton number well over 50 during the years of Todd's treatment. And many of those long and stressful trips to Edmonton would not have been necessary if Red Deer Regional Hospital had had the standard of care resources it so desperately needs to this day.
When you're in the middle of it, you're pretty scared, and you're thinking, boy, it'd be sure a lot better if we had the facility here to look after him, right?
Todd had an artificial heart valve implanted when he was 19 years old, and now, at the age of 30, he is doing well.
But he still requires things like he has a pacemaker, so now all of a sudden his pacemaker wire has fractured. So he has to have them replaced every few years or whatever. And you know, to expand Red Deer's cardiac unit would be such a great thing for him, because he would be able to have those kinds of things done here.
Central Alberta didn't meet cardiac health care needs then, and it still doesn't now.
Our hospital is always at overcapacity. We service a huge area, and so, you know, we have to start somewhere, and we keep getting turned down, and it's like, you know, sorry, this is unacceptable.
Almost exactly 1 year ago, frustrated healthcare professionals, patients, and concerned community members of Central Alberta knew that cardiac healthcare in the region was in serious trouble.
You come in with a heart attack, and if you'd be treated differently with absolutely different treatment because you're in Red Deer and you don't have the access to appropriate therapy, that's not acceptable. It's not fair.
All I know is that as a frontline healthcare provider in Central Alberta, it's very frustrating to not be given the same opportunity to take care of my patients as physicians have in other parts of this very same province.
Honestly, if we had the lab in Red Deer, I could have had all that done the morning after my heart attack.
It broke my heart to see him that way, but you know, so we had a chance to say goodbye, and I don't know if it was, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I didn't know if it was going to be the last time that I would be able to, you know, if I was really saying goodbye.
In fact, research demonstrates that the best location in the province where a new cath lab would deliver the largest impact is in Central Alberta, and particularly in Red Deer, because of the strategic location where the population density is such that the moment that we develop this facility, 120,000 people will get access to receive this procedure within a time window that will minimize heart injury and have a major benefit in decreasing mortality.
When you're having a heart attack, you have plaque that's built up over years and years in the arteries. What we do in the cath lab is we basically use tools to open up that artery. So a balloon and a wire, get that artery open as quick as we can, and that way we can save muscle.
The bottom line is, if I have a cardiac episode today in Central Alberta, I have a greater chance of dying without this service.
I put a challenge out to these people that make this decision. You guys come and live in Red Deer for a while and decide if you want to live here with a chance of you having a heart attack and only being 35 people dying out of that. How are you going to accept that? So think about that, because we have to.
It used to be that this service was not deliverable in Red Deer because we didn't have patient numbers. The technology wasn't there, but the technology has been there for at least the past 5 to 10 years that we could do it. And so our argument to this has always been that that patients should receive care closer to home. Cardiac catheterization is something that the volumes are supported in Red Deer. It's standard of care. It should be here for patients closer to home and improve outcomes at the same time.
And now, a long year later, 2019, and the crisis situation at Red Deer Regional Hospital has only gotten worse.
We get frustrated as well because there's been times when I've been on call on the weekend. I'm free, the operating room is free, we just have nowhere to put patients, and so they're waiting for their surgery. We can't get it done because they have nowhere to go. One of the ways that we're dealing with our bed crunch is we go on overcapacity. So on overcapacity 1, we're on that about 50% of the time, if not more. So that means we put people in the closets, in the bathrooms, anywhere where there's a surface where we can fit a bed, which is not ideal. It's very frustrating, and I understand. So I've been a patient, I have loved ones that have been patients. I know how frustrating it is to wait. I think really what it'll take is we need a larger facility. We need more inpatient beds in Red Deer, in our central site. This is the only place where we offer specialized services in our zone. What hopefully happens is the frustration gets channeled into forward momentum, into advocacy, so that something will happen that will change things for the positive here.
And that's exactly what people like 84-year-old Tom Skoreko are doing. Tom was visiting a family member with heart issues at the hospital recently when a doctor handed him a petition calling for expanded and improved facilities and resources for Central Alberta. And Tom has made it his mission.
We got to get together here and try to make something happen. Now, where's the one? Here's the one we just sent out today. This went to the hospitals and...
Tom has sent out dozens of 8-page information packages with petitions to 34 towns, to doctors in Edmonton and Calgary, and to pharmacies in the central area.
Right now, they claim we're on the list again, we're off the list. But being on the list doesn't mean a damn thing because it could still be 5 years before they get us up to priority.
Tom has gone through stacks of printer paper and expensive printer ink, and he spent hours putting the issue out there on Facebook and other social media.
You could need it tomorrow, I could need it tomorrow, everybody could need it tomorrow. And we got to travel. And with that kind of a problem, minutes matter. And we're an hour and a half away, and then we got to get all checked out and everything, so you're looking at 2.5 hours before you even get looked at. By then you can be stone dead.
Tom says people pressure on the Alberta government and Alberta Health Services is the best way to get the improved healthcare facilities Central Alberta so desperately needs. And Tom is doing his part, sending out his own personal thoughts and feelings to the people in power.
We must help the doctors and hospital in trying to make this happen. You can't move a 5-ton rock by yourself. You will need help, and so do our medical professionals. They need our help. Please support them.
I believe we're making some progress, but it has been a very long journey.
And so too, John and Joan Donald have been making a huge difference for the cause of Central Alberta healthcare.
This is a cause that has been very important to our family for a long time. We've been supporting this since it began, and we're going back years now. And the issue has gotten greater, the need is greater, and we're not going to let it go by this time. We are in it to win it, and it's high time Red Deer had this.
The well-known entrepreneurs and philanthropists have been actively pushing for improved and expanded facilities for Red Deer Regional Hospital for over 10 years, chairing health boards, sitting on committees, being involved in the community, and personally committing significant energy, time, and money.
I find that to me to be the biggest thing that I cannot believe AHS has not reacted to stronger than they have is the loss of life. You know, as a taxpayer in this province, I believe we deserve equal health care. And there's no way that if you live in Edmonton or Calgary, you should have better access to health care than we do in the Central Zone. And I will fight for that.
And John and Joan are the title sponsors of the 2019 Time is Muscle event.
But I'm hopeful that this time the stars are going to align and things are going to happen for us.
I am more hopeful than I've been in 7 years, right now, today. So I think we're on the right track. I think we need to continue to put pressure on any elected official, again, at all levels, not just provincial. And I believe strongly that we can get this done.
It seems that Central Alberta is closer now to a cath lab and hospital expansion than it's ever been. And if that's true, that means the advocacy, the letters, phone calls, pleas through social media, committees, the awareness events, fundraising, and pressure from healthcare professionals in the community is working. But now, more than ever, is the time to keep the pressure on the Alberta government and Alberta Health Services. Because like a heart muscle in crisis, for expanded Central Alberta cardiac health care approval, it's about time.